Banu Goshap is one of my favorite mythological characters ever. She came from Iran, but I think she's the one mythological character the world needs. Unfortunately, many of her adventures were never translated into English. Luckily for me, I have some Iranian friends who told me about her, and I'm going to tell you some of her adventures. Of course, I will never do it justice because there's a lot of linguistics and cultural sensibilities in there that I will never be able to embody, but I will try my best because you need to know about Banu Goshap. So her first adventure is when she almost killed her father. So she has an unconventional father, just like her. Now we know where she got her genes, but he was trying to teach her about the lessons of life, the harshness of life, the realities of life, and he thought maybe the best way to do it is by kidnapping her. So that's what she did. He kidnapped her own daughter, and Banu Goshap was thinking, probably playing in her head the kind of life she was going to live if she allows this kidnapping to continue. So she was like, oh fuck it, I'm not going to be a slave. So she actually was able to grab a sword and started stabbing her father until she realized that, this is my dad. So she stopped just before she killed him, just before he died. So he actually survived. But the moral lesson of the story is that her father realized that he should never ever mess with her daughter. Number 2 adventure actually involves a suitor. So there was a prince of another country who liked her, but he didn't stay long enough. He didn't have the patience. So there was this Turkish warrior who decided, okay, I'm going to grease my way into the prince, and decided he was going to kidnap Banu Goshap. Banu Goshap actually cut him into half. That's the end of the story. Third adventure involves 3 Indian kings. So these 3 Indian kings wanted to marry Banu Goshap. And so Banu Goshap said, let's just make this simple. Whoever knocks me out of my saddle is going to marry me. Okay, so the result is that there was one dead king, one injured king, and another king ran away. And there was one unmarried woman who decided to just ride off her horse. Her fourth, and probably the funniest that was ever communicated to me, actually involves the guy she ended up marrying. So yes, she actually ended up marrying somebody. But before that, this is the story. So there was a group of men, 400 men who were drinking. And the father, Rostam, decided, okay, one of these AA candidates, these people, would actually be a good person to marry my daughter. So he decided to put everybody to a test. So he got like a huge carpet that would fit 400 people. So he called all of these AA candidates onto the carpet and he shook it vigorously. And whoever ended up staying in the carpet was the one who was going to marry Banu Goshap. The guy ended up being Giv. So he was the one who didn't drink enough. So he stayed on the carpet and he ended up being Banu Goshap. But this is Goshap we're talking about. So it actually didn't turn out the way that everyone expected it. On their first night, Banu Goshap decided he was going to tie him with a rope and put him in a closet. He was able to wiggle himself free, and he decided he needed the father because that's what mature people do. They just go get the father to intervene in their marriage. So he asked the father to tell Banu Goshap that come on, they gotta do this. They're already married. And since then, they actually lived happily ever after. But she went through so many adventures. As I've said, none of her adventures actually were ever translated into English. There was one time when she rescued the king from bad people. There was another time when they actually went to India with her brother and they killed an actual demon. They killed an actual demon. She also embroidered her own portrait and distributed made copies and distributed to the whole world because everyone needs to know just how hot and pretty and beautiful she is. Every woman should be that confident. And then there was another time, she went through many wars and many battles. But there was one particular time when there was a warrior, a male warrior who insulted her for being a woman. So Banu Goshap actually calmly told that warrior that she was going to shave off his beard, kill him, chop him, and feed him to the dogs. Not necessarily in that order. And she actually did them. I love this. I love these mythological characters. I hope there's a kind soul out there that would be willing to translate her adventures into English. I'm sure everybody would love her and the world needs to know about Banu Goshap.